What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Jason Matthews, break down all the original content that I watch on the WWE Network. There was no new episode this past week because Total Bellas did not have a new episode like I thought they would. They must have taken a week off for the holiday, which is cool. I was busy, but I was not expecting that. So we will be back with my Total Bellas reviews starting this coming Monday if I can watch the show in time, which I think I should. There's been a lot going on recently, in a good way, but just a very good type of busy. But I should have that review up hopefully by Monday. But today we're talking Ride Along as aired on the network after Monday Night Raw last week on the WWE Network. This episode entitled Route Rusev Day, of course featuring the likes of Rusev, Aiden English, and Lana in one car, and in the other car, the iconic duo Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. We've never obviously had them on Ride Along before. They are new members to the roster. Rusev and Lana were in Ride Along before. Just them two, though. That was prior to Aiden English coming into the picture. So it was cool to get all three in the same car, hear their banter, go back and forth, and stuff like that. This was an enjoyable episode overall and really made the 20-25 minutes just fly by. So they're driving from Fayetteville, I think that's how you pronounce it in North Carolina, Fayetteville, to Raleigh. And I might be mispronouncing that too. I'm just awful with pronunciations. But anyway, that's where they're driving in North Carolina. Not too far of a drive. And the Iconics, as they're leaving the arena, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce ask the guy who's supposed to be pulling up the the gate or whatever for them to leave. The guy's too busy, distracted watching some show. So instead of giving him a piece of their mind, they instead ask, what movie are you watching? Like in a nice way, because they're genuinely interested. They could not have come off any nicer here. And the guy says 13 Hours, which is apparently about Benghazi or something. I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen it, so that was interesting. Rusev says that he talks more than Aiden English does. I think Lana said, who talks more between the two of you, Aiden English or Rusev? And Rusev said himself, he said that, or Aiden brought up the fact that Rusev was just a chatterbox in their most recent European tour on the bus. And that does not surprise me that Rusev is always brightening the mood on these tour buses overseas. We get footage of Triple H breaking the news to the Iconics that they were moving up to the main roster. We never see this type of thing with exclusive footage. Usually we see like replays or old footage we've seen before, but no, we get exclusive footage here of Triple H telling Peyton and Billie that it seems like he's going to start off saying like you're fired or something, but obviously why would they be fucking recording if he was? But anyway, he breaks the news to them about their main roster debut. They just break down crying. It's a great scene. It was really, really cool to see. And they remember being so hopeful. They called their debut a haze when they showed up on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, laid out Charlotte Flair. They got a big reaction. They really haven't done anything of note since, mind you. But, that's really more on creative than anything. But regardless, Rusev talks about Ride Along being an educational show. How it's a show where you can watch, you can learn stuff about the law of drive, the laws and driving and how to drive. So he's not wrong in that respect. He calls English a jokester, and he refers to Game of Thrones, even though that has nothing to do with Game of Thrones. Jokers and that House of Cards maybe is what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. Billie Kay is an awful driver, apparently. She has trouble driving her car with Peyton seated right next to her. And Rusev's driving, by the way, as is Billie Kay in her car, if you couldn't already tell. Rusev talked about the Undertaker match from the Greatest Royal Rumble. According to his side of the story, he was informed by Vince that he would be having the match in Saudi Arabia against the Undertaker. Then, because he tweeted out "Bury Me Softly, Brother," he was switched out of the match due to the tweet, and maybe more so because of Michelle McCool's, the Undertaker's wife's reaction, which basically said, "Oh, you're disrespecting him. How dare you?" The match was changed. Rusev says that the Prince of Saudi Arabia called WWE and said that Rusev should be in the match because maybe he's the closest thing to a fucking Yokozuna, which is what they wanted apparently, reportedly, which is hilarious. But anyway, they had the match changed back, and that was a long and short of it. I would love to hear an in-depth explanation as to what happened there over the course of those few weeks or few days where Rusev was added, taken out of, and then re-added to the Undertaker match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But the match happened. It wasn't all too good, but Rusev can forever say he faced Undertaker, no less, on Rusev Day. Anyway, so the Iconics play a game where it's called Kiss, Marry, and Repug. So it's not like Kiss, Marry, Fuck. They replace fuck with repug, which is kill, pretty much. First up is Billy Kay. You have to kiss one, marry one, kill one, pretty much. It's between the Iron Sheik, Ricky Steamboat, and Terry Taylor. Now these are the games that they play the entire time, which is hilarious. But yeah, Billy and Peyton have no any sort of meaningful conversation. They just play this game for like half the ride. But anyway, Billy Kay says that she would kiss the Iron Sheik, marry Ricky Steamboat, and repug Terry Taylor, despite the fact that Terry Taylor helped them develop their careers in NXT, whatever. Peyton Royce's time to play. She gets The Rock, Triple H, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So she repugs Stone Cold, she marries The Rock, and kisses Triple H, just because she can't kill him, because he's their boss, and if you ever found out about that on this show, then they would be fired. Anyway, English said that he wanted to get eliminated from the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 34 first, because Rusev goes, "Why'd you shave your head? Like, what was going through your mind?" And Aiden English basically says baldness. That's basically what was going through my head, was baldness. Well, not really through my head, but on my head. So that was why he wanted to get eliminated from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal first to WrestleMania, because he would have enough time between then and then later on in the show to shave his head, which is what he did. And he does not look too bad as a bald guy. I mean, he has shorter hair now. He's not exactly bald, but he has hair. It's just a lot shorter than it used to be, which is a better look on him. They continue to play the game. Billy Kay up next. She has Ziggler, Dillinger, and Seth. So she marries Seth. She kisses Dillinger, which is an inside joke because Peyton Royce in real life is dating Ty Dillinger. And they don't mention that here, but it's pretty much like tongue-in-cheek. It's pretty much like noted. Otherwise, why would you put Seth, Ziggler, and Dillinger in the same conversation? Why would you put Dillinger over Ziggler for kiss? Like, come on. Anyway, she kisses Dillinger, marries Seth, and repugs Ziggler. For Royce, it's Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Daniel Bryan. So she marries Daniel Bryan, kisses Braun Strowman, and kills off Samoa Joe. Lana admits to screaming when she found out that Aiden English was going to be announcing her. I think in Money in the Bank, I think is what they're talking about here. I think this was before Money in the Bank. I don't know. There was some night where Aiden English introduced Lana on the mic. It must have been a few weeks before WrestleMania. I don't remember. Maybe I don't think it wasn't a Money in the Bank, because she came out on her own. So it must have been on an episode of SmackDown like a month or so ago. So anyway, she was freaking out about it because she really wanted him to do the honors for him. Back to Billy and Peyton's car. They're talking about The Rock, and they share this story that they stopped playing the game for a couple minutes. So Billy Kay shares this story about how The Rock was her wrestling icon. And she had mentioned that on Twitter in like a Q&A or something like that. And The Rock replied saying, it was great meeting you. I would love to meet you. Sorry if I met you and I just don't remember it. Keep killing it, BK, or whatever he said. Billy Kay admits to just freaking out when she read that on Twitter. And she replied back saying, I can't wait for that day to come. For me to meet you, whatever. So then back to the Rusev Day card. Instead of playing the Kiss, Marry, Repug game that the Iconics were playing, Rusev Day is playing the Machka game. How well do you know your spouse? With Aiden English as the host. So we find out through the course of the game that Lana is the messier one. We find out that Rusev calls himself a child, more so than Lana does, that he's just an immature person. And that he would want to be a tigress. If he was an animal, he would want to be a tigress for whatever reason. I don't know. Rusev says that he's a 10 in bed, while Lana is a million in bed, which I would say TMI, but that was kind of interesting to find out, I guess. Also, we find out that Lana would turn Rusev into the Hulk if he was a comic book character. Lana says that Rusev is funny, and that Lana would turn Rusev into a bear. Meanwhile, in the Iconics car, before we sign off here, Billy Kay admits to being able to do a weird thumb thing, like some weird thing with her thumbs, I guess, or one of her thumbs. It was strange. We found out that Peyton Royce studied drama in high school, and then they go back and forth doing accents. And that's it. That's pretty much what we end this episode on. So it's by far the least newsworthy episode in quite some time, aside from the footage from the Iconics main roster debut and Triple H informing them of the big step up from NXT to SmackDown, as well as Rusev briefly talking about the greatest Royal Rumble incident, even though it was like hardly newsworthy because I doubt he was serious here. But it was a good episode nonetheless. The 20 minutes fly by per usual. Check it out on the network. Route Rusev Day, that edition of Ride Along on the WWE Network. So as I mentioned, guys, if we do, and we will, have a new episode of Total Bellas on Sunday, I should be able to watch it in time to review it on Monday. If not, it'll be up by Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know, whenever I get free time, which is very rare nowadays. But nonetheless, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.